Stand by to receive our transmission.
Where are you boys from in the world?
Alabama, sir.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to the Bama Geeks Podcast. We are four friends diving into our favorite pop culture topics with a dash of Southern charm.
We have the tools, we have talent. It's Miller time.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Wait, what? Crazy? You didn't say I was crazy.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
You want something done, you've got to do it yourself.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
So grab your biscuits and gravy, a glass of sweet tea, and enjoy the nerdy hospitality of Brock and Jessica Parker, Bo Bearden, and Kevin Gardner.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And welcome into episode 21. We are legal, ladies and gentlemen. We can drink. I've got my Sprite right here.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I got my Milo's tea right here, baby.
What you got, Bo?
I got sparkling ice, some zero sugar drink. So, hey.
So you can see we're celebrating turning 21 in style. But
hey, man, I got to work tomorrow. I'm not drinking. You know, you get to a certain age and you pay for it more. Like if you drink, you pay for it the next day more, you know? Nah, I ain't doing that.
But Jess, what you drinking?
Nothing. It's kind of hard to partake in a beverage when I'm laying down at the moment.
Yeah, Jess is almost out of commission, but she's here.
I am here. Yes.
She is not visible on Zoom, but she is in your ears right now.
I have a fever, and I wish that the only prescription was cowbell.
She's got podcast fever. I told her we were going to name this episode Podcast Fever, out of kind of like Pac-Man fever back in the 80s.
Oh, yes.
She's got podcast fever.
Podcast fever.
Of course, you say podcast fever, and the first thing I think of is the character podcast from Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, he is the breakout character of the movie. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very much.
Oliver has podcast fever.
Yes, he does. That's the amount of podcast stuff that has been coming to my house has been exponential.
You got all the podcast stuff. We've got all the mini puffs. Oh, speaking of, did somebody get a hold of you today?
Yes, sir, they did. They texted me and talked to me. I talked to them. Yes.
So
that was a very welcome text message.
Speaking of welcome, hi, I'm Brock Parker, by the way. We just totally skipped over the intros.
Hey, we are recording this thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought we were still in the intro, the pre-show stuff. Yeah. Hey, I'm Kevin.
Hey, I'm Jessica.
And it's Bo.
All right, so you got a welcome text from one of our good friends, Austin.
Yes. He decided to do me a good favor because apparently where he is at is not the barren collector wasteland that is Alabama, unfortunately. I got a text from him. He's like, "Hey, Brock told me you were looking for these," and it's a picture of the 1990s NECA Turtles figures of Leo and Donnie. So, yeah, that was a much welcome text. I was like, yeah, I still need these.
Yeah.
Yeah, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, does Bo still need these?" I'm like, "Oh, beyond the shadow of a doubt." And he's like,
"Yeah."
He's like, "They've got these two, but they've also got the Shredder Splinter 2-pack." And I was like, "I know he needs the Turtles. I don't know about Shredder and Splinter."
I got Shredder and Splinter. They're right behind me back there. But yeah, like I said, I just need the 4 Turtles of all of them I need. I've got the wrap and the trench coat, but I don't have the actual, like the base one yet.
So now at least you're going to have half now?
Yes, sir. Like I said, he texted me and him text for a few minutes on top of he was like, "Hey, are you looking for these?" I was like, "Hey, man, because I've interacted with him. I know he uses a different name online, so like I said, I see that in passing. But this is the first time I've talked one-to-one to him in a while, so it turned into a conversation. "Hey, man, how you been?" And yes, I will take these.
Yes, have some.
Yes, exactly. That's what. But so yeah, that was a much welcome agreement. I told him, I was like, "Man, he told me he would definitely look for Raph and Mikey," and I said, also, I know you have been up the hookup for finding the Phoebe Egon set, so definitely let me know that too. So I expanded my search operations thanks to you. Thanks to you and Austin.
He's like, I think Bo still needs these. I'm like, yeah, he does. I'm like, do you have his info? And he's like, no, I don't. So I tossed him your number. I didn't figure you would mind.
Yeah, I thought he
when
had
it
my
comes
number
to when
a
it
while
comes
back.
to the turtles, no, Bo does not mind.
No,
They still
not at all.
exist somewhere out there in the world.
Yes, unfortunately, my spirit has been broken looking around locally, but yes, I'm still looking for it.
So now you just need Mikey and
Raph.
Yeah. All right.
And if it's all right too, speaking of Austin, him and our friend Dan Harshman, they're about to launch their own podcast coming up, the Black Firehouse Podcast, and these two gentlemen are very passionate about Ghostbusters prop building and things of that nature. So a lot of their podcast, I believe, is going to focus a lot on those areas.
Yeah, Austin and Dan are tremendous prop identifiers, prop makers, builders. If you're into especially Ghostbusters props and want to learn a lot more about those, and check that out, the Black Firehouse Podcast. Launching this week, right?
Yeah, I believe
so, yeah.
I think actually they got their, from what I can tell, you can go ahead and listen to it on the Spotify app for podcasts. Didn't find it on the Apple Podcast, but I did see that it is available now on Spotify.
Yeah, we'll have to listen to that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we know from experience that sometimes it can take a little while to get approved on the different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I know our Mr. Brock here had a little bit of a fun time with that when we first started our podcast. So,
it didn't take long for Apple to approve this podcast. For my work podcast, it took them like 4 or 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took a while to get that one going, but once it got going, I got to do one professionally at work too.
That's because we got somebody at Apple that actually wants to listen to us.
That's right.
That's what it is. Oh, yeah.
And I did notice that we have gotten some ratings on Apple Podcasts. So those of you that have gone on to Apple Podcast and given us a rating, we really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And according to my daughter, you can also do that on Spotify.
Okay.
We appreciate that. So yeah, if you don't mind, we would love a 5-star rating. As we always say, if you don't enjoy the podcast, and just forget we asked. And if you enjoy it, please leave us a 5-star rating on Apple, on iTunes, and then wherever you go, please drop us a good rating. We'd appreciate it. And also, speaking of ways to help us grow the podcast, make sure you follow us on our social media channels at Bama Geeks, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can search for Bama Geeks on YouTube as well. That's where you get not a full video version of this podcast, but eventually there will be one. Speaking of the social media realm, we want to certainly grow the podcast. We want to increase our listenership. We want to increase, though, our interactivity with you guys. We've always had a lot of great interactions on social media with a lot of people, private messages. So here's what we're going to do. We told you in the last episode that we were going to announce something. So what we want to announce is the Bama Geeks Front Porch. Because in Alabama, when it's a nice day, where do you like to sit in a rocking chair and just chit-chat about the world?
That's right.
And you know, the way that we talk, guys, we'll get on a tangent, and then it's like all 4 of us are just sitting there talking like we're all in rocking chairs. And you know, it's the whole thing in Alabama is, you know, if you want to get directions, you can give directions by the old man sitting on the porch, because he's always going to be out there sitting on the porch and doing his thing. So it's very appropriate that we call this Front Porch, because that's kind of how we ramble anyway in these episodes.
Yep, and we've had one episode that we've called our Front Porch Banter, and that's going to be when we don't have a specific agenda to talk about. We're just going to shoot the breeze.
Mm-hmm.
You do that on the front porch. So
that's right.
The Bama Geeks Front Porch is a brand new Facebook group. It is private, but if you will go to facebook.com/groups/Bama Geeks Front Porch, or just search Bama Geeks Front Porch, go to our Facebook page, Bama Geeks, and there's going to be a link right in there to it. So that's our brand new group. We've got a few members in there already. We kind of did a soft launch with some friends of ours, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. We do have some rules in place because we are a very family-friendly podcast. And, you know, in the South, you have hospitality. You want everybody to get along. You want to treat everybody like where everybody's a neighbor.
Yeah.
So there are some rules that you'll need to look over when you ask to join the group. And the rules are, I'll just give you the 5 rules. There's no uncivil discourse. Y'all play nice. Keep a gentle tongue. Memes, only in the comments. Don't start the post with memes. And this ain't a flea market. Those are the 5 titles to the rules. So the no uncivil discourse, I'll just read it because I can't think of a better way to say it than the way we've got it in there. But Mama always said, don't ever talk about politics and religion. Even though with social media, that is out the window years ago. But, for people here in the South, that's still a pretty good rule to live by. So let's not bring up politics and religion, because we all here on the podcast have different religious views. We have different political views. All 4 of us are different, and we're 4 of the bestest friends you'll ever find. If we can get along, so can you.
Let us be the examples.
Exactly.
There you go.
Follow our lead, because we love each other to death. We hang around each other all the time. You can do the same.
The only thing that we argue about is whose rocking chairs is more comfortable.
Yeah. It may have a, wiggly rocker on the bottom, kind of like the buggies at Walmart. It's got that flat, that one tire that goes off kilter.
That's why I always check the wheels now before I grab that buggy.
Yeah. So we all fight over who gets what rocking chair. But the same thing, y'all play nice. Just be kind to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are all about in the South. We have, like I said, we've got our Southern hospitality. We love our neighbors. Just be nice. Don't start crap in the group.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. There's plenty of other places to do that.
Exactly.
Come here to have fun and enjoy a lot of this.
This is not the place.
Can we point you to some Ghostbusters fans groups?
Hey.
Or toy collecting groups? Can we point you there? So
and we're always for this group. We're always looking for opportunities. For you can share ideas with us if there's any like we like covering the peanut butter solution and movies like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you run up on something that you'd like for us to watch and give you a review on, let's bring it up. Yeah. Let us know. We'll take a look at it. We've got some movies planned in the hopper here coming up, but we're always looking for good content. So you could be a catalyst and you could help us out with that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. The next one, like I said, is keep a gentle tongue. Yeah, we're all adults, but try to limit your no words in there, because we are a family-friendly podcast. We do want to keep kind of clean in case, it may be a private group, but we're going to let anybody in, because we want to grow the community. We want people to get to know each other. We just want to have a good time. So there may be some younger people, and there are people of all different, beliefs and persuasions that are going to be coming in there. So just, it's like comedy with me. Like I'm not a fan of comedians who just talk about sex and dirty words all the time, because to me, that's not creative. Enchant me with your words. Let me hear you come up with something good without having to resort to that. So, just try to limit that. Memes, we're kind of stealing this from a couple of other groups that we're involved with. They have a no meme policy as far as starting off a post, because that just keeps it as good quality discussion. Mm-hmm. So we love memes. All of us love memes. Mm-hmm. My gosh, we love them. But limit those to comments on a post. If you're going to start an original post, then we ask that you start it off with some good content. And then if you want to put a meme in the comments, go right ahead. Memes might get taken down. We'll just go ahead and tell you that. Nothing personal. We just want to keep it high quality content. Mm-hmm.
Unless it happens to be one of us that does it.
We've got to play. We got to try to play by our own rules.
Like I've already done once.
What if they're memes of us?
That's fine. Although I really dread that.
You're opening a Pandora's box there. People will start making memes of us.
Well,
just so they can post a meme.
Yeah,
yes.
That is true.
But we've all had memes made of ourselves by other friends and everything, and they're actually pretty creative and funny. So It's a gray area when it comes to us. And the last rule, this ain't a flea market. Exactly what it says. We're not a group that's going to be buying and selling stuff. So
we only talk about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If Bo wants to sell his Matty Trap, we'll talk about it here, but he will be respectful and not do it.
Yeah. No. I say it's yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, there's plenty of other places to do it. Like I said, this is just mostly you just want engaging conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in the description of the podcast, wherever you're viewing this, we'll have a link to it. Just look it up on Facebook, Bama Geeks Front Porch. And we'll post it to our socials now that we've made the public announcement. And I hope you guys just join. Tell your friends, if they just want some good old Southern discourse and conversation or whatever, pop culture, it doesn't matter. Just come on in and invite your friends, invite your enemies, play nice with your enemies if you do that in the group.
Please don't invite your enemies. We don't want to deal with that drama. I don't want to deal with that drama. Brock, you don't want to deal with that drama.
No.
I don't want Jessica slapping anybody. Okay, we don't want any of that stuff.
Jessica is a second-degree black belt. She may be only 5'3", but she is a second-degree black belt. She will put it to use. Yeah. So you've been warned.
Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai, or Eagle Fang?
Midjitsu.
Yeah, Midjitsu.
Midjitsu, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, me. So,
Sensei Midjitsu.
That's right.
That's good. I like that.
Sensei Shorty.
You call me Sensei Shorty.
I was going to say, it sounds like a 90s like R&B or rapper name,
I'll take that. Yeah. That's my little rapping name.
That's right.
Sensei Shorty. Okay.
Oh man. So yeah, it's a Facebook group. We realize some people don't do Facebook, and that's understandable. Believe me, it's understandable. But I feel like that's kind of the best place to have an open forum like this for everybody. So Bama Geeks Front Porch, search it on Facebook, and welcome y'all.
Come on up, sit on the porch with us, have some conversations.
That's right. So hope to see you in there, and we'll provide links everywhere, and we'll definitely send out reminders, and hopefully you'll join. Hopefully you'll invite people, and we'll have a good time. So that's the first part of the growth that we're planning. We've got some other ideas that we're all tossing about, and let's just start it off with the Facebook group, and let's grow our community, and we'll take it from there while we work on some other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we appreciate all the downloads and appreciate all the interactions, and there you go.
I still can't sell these guys on the t-shirt cannon, guys. I'm trying. They won't do it. They're like, we don't need a t-shirt cannon. I'm working.
Wait. Who decided that?
This is Alabama. I know how to build a potato gun. We can do that. We can do our own DIY.
I don't know who shot. Similar. I don't know who shot that down, but I can tell you it wasn't me.
So now I'll go ahead and give you one of the ideas I'm thinking of. Is doing. We've done in the past. The Alabama Ghostbusters have done panels at conventions before. So one of the things I would love to do is, okay, here's the thing, is we've got to get Bo to a convention that's not on a weekend that he works.
This is true.
I'm telling you, it's like the convention gods in my work schedule got together and was like, hey, everything that you want to do is going to be weekends you work.
Mm-hmm.
Except Magic City Con. I know that is one of my open weekends this year.
Good.
So.
Yeah, good.
Well, it might not be the beginning part of this year, but at some point down the line, because quite frankly, I need to get a little bit more equipment to do this. But we have done, as part of the Alabama Ghostbusters, we've done podcast panels at conventions in the past, especially around in Birmingham. So we want to maybe do some live panels. And if we do that, dude, that t-shirt cannon is a go, as long as the convention people are okay with it.
They won't let us in with that, man. Especially if we have Bo make it from a potato cannon. Like,
just
come on, man. They're not gonna let us in with that.
3-inch PVC pipe. Come on, man.
I mean, surely we can get a peace tie on that, right?
May not last long, but sure.
Yeah.
That or, hot dog, the guns that shoot out hot dogs or marshmallows or.
Now, we have marshmallow guns. We have ghost poppers. You know, Kindred or Hasbro did re-release those. So we got little poppers.
Here we are.
I think they make T-shirts that small.
We need to be more. We need to do a T-shirt trebuchet. There we
go.
But no T-shirt trident, so we're not going to stab people.
Have a shirt.
But that means we got to get like Bama Geeks shirts made. Oh,
we might be hinting at another idea.
We're not going to reveal everything tonight.
There are.
We're going to show all of our cards.
Bama Geeks the flamethrower.
Oh, nice.
Powered by Elon.
Yes.
A while ago, Brock, you mentioned something about crude comedians, and I thought that would be a really good segue into our next topic.
Oh, are we going to?
We're going to go into this.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, comedians, and go ahead, Kev.
No. You dropped the no.
No,
I did. Okay, all right, yeah. So apparently, I've been unceremoniously nominated to do the sad part of the podcast. Here.
Surprise.
So yeah, merely minutes before we started recording this podcast, we learned that Bob Saget passed away.
Yeah.
Which
what a shock.
all of pretty much everybody here we grew up with Bob Saget. He was like America's dad.
Yep.
He was it was everything. And then of course we've got Sidney Poitier passed away, and then Betty White as well. And the whole thing with Betty White was a lot of her magazines had released, and it was celebrating her 100 years
that she didn't quite make it to.
Yeah.
Well, somebody did the math. They added in all the leap years and stuff. Technically, didn't she make it?
She would have made it if you would have added in the extra days for all the leap years. What, she survived, or she lived through 24 leap years? Is that right? I'm bad with math, but it was in the 20s.
Well, that would sound about right if it was a quarter.
Yeah, it's about 24.
Yeah. So I mean,
24 days. So she basically banked up almost a month's worth of leap year days.
That's like me trying to save up my sick time so I can use it towards retirement.
In just a couple of weeks before she had, passed, it's kind of the thing that I made a comment on my social media about. Every time I'd be scrolling through and I'd see a news article and it had her picture in it. And I was like, well, that's it. She's gone. And, more recently, it was just a couple of weeks ago, they were talking about that People magazine article that would be coming out. Talking about Betty White turns 100. And I was like, no, we can't do this yet. That's not good. We don't need to be doing this. She hasn't made it yet. And then,
that was a catalyst. She just saw 2022 coming and she's like, I'm out.
Yeah. It's like, I'm good.
Well, I like to think of it that, we had such a rough last couple of years with things happening and sicknesses and things like that she just said, all right, look, I'm not going to dampen 2022. I'm just going to go ahead and check out now.
Yeah.
And what a way to go out the last day of the year. She was a great lady in television. And if you have a chance, there is a good documentary on Netflix, Betty White, the First Lady of Television. I actually watched it a couple of months ago. It's really good. So in Betty's memory, go check that out on Netflix. And she has a very fascinating story of her start in television and how she got started in show business and things like that. So,
and then, like I said, of course, Sidney Poitier passed away just a day or two ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah. From today's Sunday. So
Oscar Award winner. He was a trailblazer for African Americans so far as getting an Oscar and actually setting the stage for a lot of people behind him.
Yeah. Denzel Washington always made that comment that Sidney Poitier was someone he'd always molded himself after and gave him a lot of inspiration and inspired him as an actor.
And then, like Kevin said, just 15 minutes before we started recording this, spotted it on Twitter that somebody put R.I.P. Bob Saget. And I'm like, no, there's no way.
Yeah.
And that's
and he was in Dirty Work there with Norm Macdonald, who we recently just lost. So that's just such a shock.
Yeah, and the thing about Bob, you're talking about him being America's dad. We grew up with him not only as Danny Tanner on Full House, but also is the host of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that show was amazing back in the day.
Oh, it was fantastic. And so you think he's just this wholesome guy. and then one day I watched Half Baked.
Yep. That was the same thing. Yep.
All you got to do is watch his stand-up.
Yeah.
Any of his stand-up.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Whoa.
wow.
Whoa.
It's like, because, the thing was we all kind of molded him around the same mold that we
Mhm.
had Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And, Bill Cosby was
Well,
just a clean
never
comedy.
mind.
Well, we're not even going to go into the Bill Cosby
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay,
But
Bob
I'm
didn't
just
go
saying-
that direct route.
No.
Right, but so far as the mold that we had done,
Right.
Yeah.
we had all kind of mentally
Wholesome-
he was in
wholesome
that
dad.
same mold, the wholesome dad. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then all you got to do is hear just like 2 minutes of Bob Saget stand up, and you're like, oh no, he's not a wholesome dad.
Yeah.
He's not a
Yeah.
wholesome dad.
There's a whole other side to Bob there.
That got me as bad as, golly, what was it, last year, the Chadwick Boseman?
Mm-hmm.
We were sitting on the couch, and I about jumped up from the couch. I'm like, no. And just like, what's wrong? I'm like, Chadwick Boseman passed away. And, that was, I almost had the same reaction tonight when I saw Bob Saget, because he was only 65.
So I knew he was older, but I mean, still, I didn't know 65 he was much older than I thought he was. I don't know
Yeah.
how my brain. Of course, you know how you see people, you get certain that certain time and age, you get it locked in your head. So
Right.
Yeah. And he last tweeted something at just before 3:00 this morning
Mhm.
about,
Yeah.
he did a 2-hour set, and that's where he died at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando is where they found him
Yeah.
this evening.
He performed in Jacksonville. His last show was in Jacksonville.
But he died in Orlando.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Not that they're far apart, but
Right.
yeah. So that's that's a rough week.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
But
say
they always say celebrity deaths are one in threes, right?
Yep.
Oh, well, there's our 3 right there. And
hopefully that's it.
speaking on, losing Betty and Bob, I had seen something posted that said, not sure our hearts can handle losing our grandma and a dad all in once. So there you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's the sad part of the episode.
Yeah. But hey, Brock.
Hey.
Speaking of spirits.
Hey. Yeah.
Let's talk about Ghostbusters after.
Yeah, go.
Let's just. What a transition.
Welcome to our sense of humor.
Look, hey, look, if there's anybody in this podcast that's going to go with the dark sense of humor, it's going to be me. I'm fine with it.
And Bob was a comedian. This would have been fine with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been. He appreciate this.
And
Exactly.
Betty would have chuckled too. I didn't know
Oh,
City
yeah.
48 that well, but I know Betty would have chuckled too.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, so moving into other Afterlife realms. Yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife is out on digital. It's been out now for a week, and within 3 weeks, it's going to be hitting that ultimate box set, all the 4K Blu-rays and the Making Ghostbusters book.
Yeah.
So, fun time to be a Ghostbusters fan. You can now sit at home and watch Afterlife, which I'm ashamed to say that neither one of us have yet. It's been on digital. We've got it. We just hadn't watched it yet.
We've been bad Ghostbuster fans, but it was a very Bo Bearden thing to do to immediately go to the digital viewing just to get the closed caption on there to confirm.
Yes, I did.
To confirm the muffin.
Yeah, Bo, we have to tell the story using clean language.
Yeah.
But you went immediately to the one part in. If you haven't seen Afterlife by now, spoilers. We're not even giving a warning.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, when I've queued it up, I went back to the last 15 minutes of the movie because that was like that's the part I had to re-see ASAP. It was the last 15 minutes of the movie. I mean, I love the movie as a whole, but the last 15 minutes is what I'm not gonna lie. That is what I wanted that movie. But yes.
What did you discover?
All right. Well, let's see. My thing was when we saw it opening night twice. Of course, it gets down to where the original Busters are trying to take down Gozer again, and Whitson delivers a line of. Well, for me personally, I kept hearing muffin, but other people were hearing other things like another word with the letter M, like mother, and I was like, no, it's muffin because reason on top of me just because I like the line anyway. I want it to be muffin because there's a great story about Ernie Hudson that our friend who's no longer with us, Ryan Kemp, told us about Ernie at a convention one time, and I'm gonna let Brock, you tell it because you're a much better storyteller with this than I am.
Yeah, but my memory is much worse. Golly, was it in 2012, 2010, 2012, somewhere around there? There was a convention that Ernie was a part of, and Ernie was sitting at his table and he had to go do a panel or something, like he had to go do a photo op or a panel, and he didn't get to finish eating a muffin. And so he got up from the table and looked at his handler and said, "Don't F with my muffin."
Such an Ernie thing to say.
He wanted to come back to that muffin.
Yeah. So he came back, and I think he finished the muffin, and Ryan Kemp asked him if he could have that muffin wrapper and got Ernie to sign it and got him to sign, "Don't mess with my muffin."
That's
Ernie
great.
Hudson. So, yeah. That was a story that Ryan loved to tell.
Oh, man.
So it was kind of an inside Ghostbusters fans joke for a while, "Don't mess with my muffin." I think somebody even put it on a t-shirt. "Don't mess with my muffin," Ernie Hudson. So yeah, it was awesome to hear Winston say that in the movie, "Let's toast this muffin," because I highly doubt that incident had anything to do with that line being in there. But that just made it all the more special, though, hearing it.
Yeah. That was like the main thing. Like, so I went to the last 15 minutes of the movie, turned the caption on, and I sat there and I waited. And I waited, and then like I said, he dropped the line, and I was like, yes. I mean, like I said, good thing my son was
sweet victory.
But until we can actually get Ernie to do an interview and actually talk about it, who knows? That could have influenced it. You don't know. You never know. That could have been something that was memorable to him.
The man loves muffins, apparently. So,
hey.
I mean, I can't blame him. Muffins are good.
Well,
Blueberry muffins are fantastic.
If muffins are keeping him in the shape that he's in, being the oldest of the original Ghostbusters,
goodness, right?
And as good as that man looks, man, have a muffin a day. You don't need an apple. Have a muffin.
So, like I said, I understand. Like it's how it is. Like I said, he is the oldest, but he looks the least oldest of the guys.
It's fantastic shape. Oh, absolutely.
Ernie's a treasure. Ernie is an absolute treasure.
I have to wonder I wonder what happened to that muffin wrapper, or what lucky person may have their hands on that right now.
That's a good question. We need to ask Jonathan Peacock, because I wonder like what happened with like a lot of Ryan's collection.
I don't know. That's not something. Bo and I went to his funeral in 2015, and we met his dad. Yeah, I don't know. After his funeral, I didn't inquire into any of that because that was.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something you don't think about. But that's now I'm kind of curious. I mean, I'm curious because that was a very awesome collection. He had if anybody had an amazing collection, it was him. And I would, like I said, I hope it went to a good home. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Well, he had 8 proton packs, 9, and they were all different.
And a slime blower.
And a slime blower. They were all different, and he named them different names.
I wish I would have had the pleasure of knowing Ryan Kemp.
Ryan was a treasure.
There's a reason why, like a lot of us guys who knew him, we go on about him all the time because he was the perfect embodiment of us. He was the eccentric fan, but a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want a good interview with Ryan Kemp, and I tell you what, go look up the Western Kentucky Ghostbusters on YouTube.
There you go.
And I think they posted the full interview that Ryan had shot for the Ghost Heads documentary. I think they've got on. I know Jonathan Peacock posted it, the full length version somewhere. Whether it was under the Western Kentucky's account or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you showed me that interview, Brock. Though I really, really appreciated that. And
yeah, I wish you could have known him.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan. I always remember he came down for the Ghostbusters showing at the Alabama Theater that we had, and he Chase Ambrose had donated an old light bar off his he had a Dodge Magnum that he converted over to an Ecto, and so he had an old light bar and gave that to us to auction off during the tornado relief raffle back in 2011. And Ryan came down to the Alabama Theater and bought it. And I remember helping him load it into the truck, and we went on to eat afterwards, and there's this giant light bar sticking out of the back of Ryan's truck. He's like, man, I'm so happy to have this. I don't think he did anything with it, but he had a light bar.
Well, just to let everyone know too, I just had searched YouTube about that interview. Couldn't find it. Just searching by Western Kentucky Ghostbusters, but I put Ryan Kemp in the search, and about 3 videos down, there it is.
Whose account's it under?
Louis Tully.
Ryan was a great Louis Tully cosplayer too. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! And when he did cons, some of the pictures he took with the celebrities were some of the best. Like there's one with him and the Undertaker.
Oh, that is one of my favorites.
And the Undertaker's got him by the collar, and Brian's got this look of like scared to death look on his face, and the Undertaker's got his fist pulled back like he's about to punch Ryan.
Well, his caption was great. He said he wasn't mad; he was just disappointed.
Yeah. But then he got him there with a cast of Arrows, Stephen Amell and Daniel Panabaker and Katie with a dad. Katie.
Kate, yeah.
Cassidy. Katie Cassidy.
Cassidy, yes, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the group picture with all of them, and they're all giving him like this evil look because he's standing in front and he's got his button-up shirt pulled open and it's a Hawkeye shirt instead of Green Lantern. Ryan was the absolute best at celebrity photo ops. He was just the best at so many things. Yeah. Definitely getting a laugh. So he was an improv comedian. Wow. Yeah. We got
to go back to Ghostbusters Afterlife, but that's
well, speaking of Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh, he would have loved that. I'm sure he would have been just nuts over this movie too. Mm-hmm. He was a big advocate for even the 2016 time. Yep. From what I've been told, he was a big advocate.
He was the first Ghostbuster fan to meet Paul Feig at a convention.
Yep.
And Ryan walked up to him in his flight suit, and Paul's like, "Look, I'm not trying to ruin your childhood. Please don't hate me." But yeah, Paul got some one-on-one time with Ryan and remembered him, and that's one thing when we went out to Sony for the trailer premiere for Answer the Call. I asked Paul. I said, it'd be really great if you could do a tribute in the credits somehow, just to memory of Ryan. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he did. So if you go back and watch Ghostbusters Afterlife, Answer the Call. If you go back and watch Answer the Call, the 2016, you'll see at the very end of the movie a line dedicated to Ryan in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
stand-up move by Paul.
So anyway, back to Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes, but yeah, like I said, the digital's been nice. I know the iTunes version got like a lot of extra features with it, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to the physical release so I can get it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more. There's supposed to be some really, really good deleted scenes from Ghostbusters 2. I think
there's like 22. I know there's the Eugene Levy, Lewis's brother, right?
Yes, Eugene Levy.
They had there's a slight, you can see it for a few seconds, in the little trailer for the collection where you can hear him talking. He sounds very Lewis-like, so it's even great to hear Eugene Levy talking like that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that because I'm a really big fan of Eugene Levy.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen that. There's always been that one photo circulating around where him standing next to the car as they're pulling out from where they were. I can't remember. There's that one. There's I think 22 different things from Ghostbusters 2 that's added. I think it's as of special features deleted stuff, 2 has the most stuff added to it. Mm-hmm. But they have the preview cut in the TV version of Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got to say, I'm really glad that Sigourney Weaver scored her audition because I just don't think I could see Kelly LeBrock as a Dana Barrett.
If Kelly LeBrock would have been Dana, Peter would have been amped up to 50 more than he is.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, it was her and Denise Crosby. Who else was it they showed audition for Dana?
I can't remember. I really have not done an extensive study of that list yet.
But yeah, I know Kelly LeBrock and Denise Crosby were the 2 that I was like, wow.
Tasha Yar is Dana Barrett? That would have been weird.
Well,
that would have been
she would have had a green slime instead of the black tar that killed her off in Next Gen.
Spoilers!
30 years. Probably more closer to getting to 35 years.
We're very close to 35. What's 87? Yeah, we're at 35 years of Next Generation this year.
Oh no.
Man. Good night. I feel really old.
Yeah, I just think, Sigourney as Dana is a whole lot better than Kelly would have been as Dana. Just when I see Dana Barrett, I don't see her as the Kelly LeBrock statuesque kind of person. I don't know. It just kind of seems a little weird. So,
well, you're looking at it through, your 30 plus years of obsession with Ghostbusters. So, I mean, you never.
This is true. This is true.
I mean, it's a slightly different subject, but I mean, think about it, guys. Christopher Walken he auditioned for Han Solo in Star Wars. So, I mean, could you imagine Christopher Walken?
Part of me is disappointed now because I kind of, I don't. I mean,
I'm gonna pay you back, Jama.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh man.
So there are some odder near misses that we've had with characters than that.
It makes me think with that when you talk about Star Wars. Reminds me, I want to say it was either late '90s, early. I think it was around the time that the prequels came out for Star Wars. SNL did a bunch of sketches where they had audition tapes of different people auditioning for different characters.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was the Walter Matthau auditioning for Obi-Wan, which was great.
I need to go look that up. I do not remember this.
Oh, that's a great thing. I'll have to remember. I'll send it to you after we get done recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, back in '99, that was all anybody was talking about was Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars was coming back. And so everything SNL was Star Wars, like every one of them. It was crazy. Like they would cover something Star Wars with every single one of the episodes of some kind. So you can get a lot of content from that.
Speaking of Star Wars, we will be discussing Book of Boba Fett. Consider this your early spoiler warning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but don't leave yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Bo has got something he wants to share with us that him and the son played. It's going to be the first time we've really covered a video game that's kind of out there. You want to give us some coverage on it there, Bo? Let us know what we're discussing.
All right. Well, I do some of this just Twitch streaming. I hadn't been doing it as much lately, but usually when I do it, it's me and my son. So I try to find fun stuff that'll be entertaining for us to play, but also for people to watch. Well,
give your channel out.
Well, it is twitch.tv/MBTHEGR81. That's usually my screen name on anything is MBTHEGR81. So
MB the great one.
Yes,
we'll put a link.
I've had that since around 10th or 11th grade. So it's been like a screen name I've used for everything. I was very full of myself back then. I don't know if I still am now, but me and him always look for odd things. And I saw this trailer for this game and it's called Deer Simulator. I don't know if any of you guys have seen these big simulator games are really popular. Like there's some more calmer ones like Farm Simulator. I've seen Lawn Mowing Simulator, which that might be our next thing to try.
Oh, boy.
But and then you have the extremities like Goat Simulator, where basically you're a goat causing havoc in your local neighborhood. Well, this is Goat Simulator, but like apparently someone got a hold of some really good drugs and went even farther. Like it's called Deer Simulator. Well, it's essentially like it's weird. Like I'll just give you a small breakdown. You start out the game. You create a personal character. Like you can create a person. You create a person. And you can spend, like any other creative character, 5-10 minutes or, an hour. Well, then after you create your character, it opens up with you walking across the street and you save a deer and then it kills you and then you're reborn as a deer. So there's where we're going here. The next thing, it becomes this fever dream where you're this deer that I swear is indestructible. You can, on top of it just being a deer, you can extend your neck and basically swing like Spider-Man. Like I said, the more I talk about it, it sounds more insane. So I'm sorry. Like I said, this is the game. I promise you. Well, you can look up a trailer. On top of that, you can switch out your deer's horn for guns, laser guns. Also, your deer can run like Sonic fast on its hind legs while dragging someone behind them.
Oh,
I had that thing. What
of course,
was that song?
Yeah,
it's running in the 90s. I'm sure if anyone's heard, it's
like really big on Dance Dance Revolution, right?
Yes, yeah, running in the 90s. I can't think of the artist. It's running. The song's running in the 90s. I'm sure anybody our age or younger has heard it.
That's what I hear when I see that. When I was watching you and Oliver last night.
Well, I have a sound command which is that running in the 90s because I introduced Oliver to that song.
Oh, that's right. You did play that last night.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a clip of it. Like you said, eventually, like I said, I know you said we may drop it, for people to see. They said we'll do it that way. But yeah, it's the weirdest thing. And like on top of it, your deer can there's giant other animals. It makes no sense. There's a giant fish in the sky. there is a giant koala on a building that if you attack, it shoots lasers out your eyes and then insta kills you. I guess if you level up, you become stronger. Like I said, this is like a Gen Z video games is really odd.
Well, you say odd, but we did watch Lamageddon.
Yeah.
So, this.
Yeah.
Speaking of lasers coming out of the eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like Lamageddon, the video game with, I guess, on some kind of illicit drug. I don't know. I mean,
Lamageddon was an illicit drug.
That is true.
Drunk when they did that one.
But like no, and what's even like is like I said, I know we're Alabama based, and a lot of folks who are deer hunters, which my father-in-law's he loves deer hunting, and I applaud them. Like to me, like I don't care about you go hunt, you do have fun, you're out in the woods, do your thing. To me, I'm like it's a cold winter's morning, I'm staying in bed.
Yeah.
Yes, but the deer that he hunt don't have laser guns on there.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the great thing about it is.
But man, what if it did? That just takes it to a whole new level.
Sharks with freaking laser beams on their head.
if you're team deer that want to cause havoc, then there you go.
Okay.
Well, I didn't even think about it anyway. It's like basically like Goat Simulator and Grand Theft Auto, because after you cause so much havoc, the police air quotes are initiated. The first level of the police are sheep with billy clubs or with nightsticks. And then is your level of whatever you always say, your level of notoriety increases. Like there were polar bears where they had police cars on them. Like I've looked at later on, it looks like there's a lion mech with a police car. I don't know, we haven't got that far yet. So.
But
does King Kong Koala ever get involved in the police stuff?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. We played it for about 30 or 45 minutes. We'll revisit it again. Like I'm enjoying all these oddball games. Like I've had some of these on the back burner for a while. We just haven't been able to play them. Like there's one game I've got called Maneater where you're a killer shark, which I know that's going to be up his alley. I have a 6, soon to be 7-year-old little boy. So, I mean, I wish you could have seen, like, so Brock saw us and Jessica saw us, like, we were laughing hysterically. That's what I like about it. Like,
the deer driving.
Yes, the deer got into a car, but then, like, on the car is like a mounted deer head. That's to show you that the deer's in the car.
Well, and I saw that there was one where he got on a motorcycle and turned himself into the Tron cycle.
Yeah, no, the Akira, Tron cycle, and there's like in the trailer, it does the Akira slide. So apparently, like I said, there's people our age who know the references. I mean, I just wanted to be on this pitch meeting for this game. That's what I want to know.
It was everybody sitting around in beanbag chairs with their incense lit.
Are we ready to release this game yet? What else can we put in it?
Yeah.
I don't know. This doesn't seem fleshed out. Let's add a King Kong Koala.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's just do it.
Sure.
And if you attack it, it shoots you with laser beams and kills you instantly.
Sure. Why not? Makes total sense.
Like I said, it's so absurd. It's good.
I love those kinds of games.
Like I said,
I'm gonna have to play this.
And it's like low res poly. It's kind of not. It's high definition, but it's like kind of that poly look to it, like Kevin we were talking about beforehand. Mm-hmm. And like it's got like glitches to it, but that's part of the gameplay's charm. Like there's one where you like you can pull somebody behind you and drag you, and then like his arms will stretch, and it's that whole like that stretched out graphical error, but it's still part of the game. Like I said, it is the weirdest thing ever. Like I've seen a lot of weird video games, but this is up there in my top 5.
Well,
so not AAA development.
But, I don't think it's probably like a little indie game.
Yeah.
I know if you subscribe to the Xbox Game Pass, that's how I got it. I got it, and that's how I downloaded it, played it that way. I know it's on Switch and PC. And
it's on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam. So there's ways to play it, and I'm probably sure you probably won't need a powerful machine to play it.
I don't know. It depends on how well that thing's been optimized.
That is true.
Although these days, I will say a lot of times these days, indie games are more optimized and better than AAA games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you play Deer Simulator.
Yeah, deer. There are 4 E's in it.
If you've played it, want to share it in the Bama Geeks Front Porch,
give us some videos, and I think we may even be okay with the occasional meme about deer.
In the comments.
Well, if none of these guys are online, and it's just me looking at it and approving the stuff, and I'll let it fly until they say something. Because it'll be funny. But yeah, officially do it in the comments.
Yeah. I have absolutely gotten sucked into Far Cry 6.
Oh yeah.
One thing, I don't know how many video games do this these days, but like after I conquer a region, I'll get an email that was like, "Oh, you took over this section. I'm still not scared of you yet," or whatever, and it tells you how many kills and everything else you've done.
Is this like a personal email it sends to you, like on your email?
Yeah.
Like say if you sign. Well, Ubisoft's really cool about that. Like they did. I don't know if they did that for Far Cry 5, which I keep telling you that one. That's been my favorite of that series so far.
Well, I never played Far Cry, but you show me Giancarlo Esposito in anything.
Oh, he's sold.
I'm a sucker.
Yeah, he's sold.
And he's been fantastic.
He's going to come after you with a Darksaber.
Hey, come on.
Or a box cutter.
Hey, Kevin, you and I both.
Box cutter.
Kevin, hey, we've got Darksabers and box cutters. We can take him.
Oh, man. That's right, buddy.
We got him.
I'll get my Beskar out. We'll be good to go.
I don't have that. I'll have to bring you in to fight.
There we go.
Well, Kevin was just pointing to Boba Fett, so I'm going to go ahead and just say, let's talk Book of Boba Fett. Here is your spoiler sound right there. 2 episodes in.
We are all caught up on it. We've all watched it, including Bo.
That's what I say. That's the most shocking thing of this. I've seen it.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know we didn't really talk much about this because we kind of, in the pre-show, because we kind of wanted to save it and, kind of get everybody's impressions. But the second episode, definitely, it was much more impactful than the first one. The first one was kind of setting it up. And then we got to see, how Boba, like within the first 45 seconds, basically how Boba Fett escaped from the Sarlacc and why, because we've been asking, how is he still alive? And then they finally canonized it, how he actually got out of the Sarlacc. And in this one, we got to, they are really going heavy in on building the story now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good slow burn. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that anybody who knows me personally knows that, so far as Star Wars cosplay go, I've done a lot of different Star Wars cosplays, but there are 2 in my life that I have done and I've spent a lot of time on. The first one was a Tuscan Raider.
Mm-hmm.
Built it. Me and a good friend of mine, Robert, we built Tuscan Raiders from scratch. Milled all of the parts on a lathe when he worked at a company in downtown Birmingham called General Machinery. He actually used their lathe there, and we did all of the metal pieces and everything. So I have my Tuscan Raider on display in a stand in the corner of my office over here.
Mm-hmm.
In the other corner of my office, I have Boba Fett. So you can imagine just how incredibly happy this makes me personally to know that Boba Fett's new lineage, and one of the reasons, if not the primary reason, he changed to more of a black undersuit, other than to hide his dad bod a little bit, which, come on.
Yeah, black is slimming.
Exactly. Is the fact that he is now honoring his Tuscan lineage, which is the way that they did that story and the way that they showed that, he was the underdog and then they didn't respect him. And then he went out and he killed, which I still don't know what the thing was called, the thing with the 6 legs.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that's called, but
I don't know, but it was a very nod to the Harryhausen type, animated situation with the beast there, but still, I don't know.
The head of that thing looked like the Clash of the Titans, the Titan. It looked like that.
Very much so.
I mean, when he came back with just the head, I was like, "Oh yeah, they're totally pushing this, and they want us to think that."
Yeah.
When you saw what it looked like, and the fact that just the way that they made that thing move, where it's like it kind of stood up on its hind legs like Goro from Mortal Kombat there, and was like grabbing stuff. But as soon as it started moving, it went down and started walking like a centaur. If they do a new Rancor for the pit, it needs to be that thing. That would be phenomenal to see that. I don't know if it gets as big as a Rancor, but. Yeah,
you wouldn't be trapped in a pit with one. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, watching that second episode, that's the one thing came to my mind. I was like, this is Kevin Gardner, all in like a massive second episode. This is all about Kevin Gardner right here.
And you guys know how excited I've been about this. I mean, we've talked about it. We've done it on several episodes. It's like, I've been about Boba Fett all my life. It's just like this is my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters. And then just the fact that it's almost like they were like, let's make the story exactly the way Kevin would want.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of like what's happening here. So I'm like, this is like it was written for me. It's been like far, it's been just a phenomenal journey.
I wish wish I could have witnessed you firsthand watching this episode. Just the giddiness that you were probably experiencing watching this.
Oh my gosh, man!
Well, the first 2 episodes have done really good. Like it's always the thing. Boba Fett, didn't have much screen time originally, and then and then now he's getting more with this, and then like the Tuscans, like it's really cool. Like the Tuscans were, always everybody's knows what the Tuscans are, but you didn't know much about them outside of they were the Sand People.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you for books, another thing I keep forgetting. This is like I guess in the live action realm,
but you can't just say the books anymore because you never. I mean, we knew about them, but it's like, is it legends?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? So like these guys are actually canon now, and we've got Tuscan Raiders that are wearing. They have black.
I've heard
wrappings.
I like that, even though that's for temperature wise, that is a completely bad decision for me. I'm just saying.
Well, and it just goes to show you that Tuscans just wear what they find.
Well, didn't I want to say they were like a different tribe? Like, didn't I want to say their tribe leader, because basically the way I'm taking the Tuscans now, they're presented like as a Native American type tribe. Like there's a lot of Native American inspiration I can see. Yeah,
different tribes, different. Yeah.
So I would say that's what I get, because like I think he talks about their other tribes were more, they were always out there trying to do something where they were kind of not nomads, but they kind of kept to themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these, and just the fact that we got to see Tuscan Raiders being taught how to ride swoop bikes. I don't know if you guys knew the difference there, but there are speeder bikes, which is what the Empire has, and then there are swoop bikes, which are kind of like, if you think of these are the official off-the-shelf Kawasaki's, and then the ones that you find their swoop bikes are like Harleys. They're like all customized.
Speaking of which, those bikes, that gang that rode them, their emblem that they paint on the side of that building, is that just like their gang emblem, or is that something played into something bigger?
I don't think so. I think that was more the gang.
Okay.
But one of the references that not many people would have gotten, unless you were probably a more fervent Star Wars fan, is when the miners are at the bar, and the 2 humans that were in there. Those were actually characters from a deleted scene from the original Star Wars script, and they're named Cammy and Fixer.
Right.
Cammy and Fixer were childhood friends, and I'm saying friends in air quotes because they were always picking on Luke whenever he was younger, and they were part of the catalyst as the reason why he wanted to leave, like Wedge left whenever he left. And and honestly, believe it or not, I didn't realize that until after that scene, and I was like, that looked like that was Cammy and Fixer, and it kind of threw me because the voices didn't sound the same as they did in the radio dramas. So Star Wars did, back in the day, that was NPR's big thing, was doing radio dramas, and that whole, because the radio drama is based on the original script. When they did that, they started out with, wasn't the Star Destroyer coming over into view. It was starting off with Luke Skywalker listening to an Imperial Academy recruitment tape. That's the first thing you hear him listening to in the movie, in the radio drama, or in the script. So
you mentioned Fixer, and that spurred this memory. In the Star Wars Signature Series collector's cards that I got last year, I wound up getting an autographed card of Fixer, of Anthony Forrest. There.
Okay.
Can you see that, Kev?
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm like, who is Fixer? I had no idea who Fixer was. And then I looked it up, and this Anthony Forrest guy was he actually said the line in the movie, when Obi-Wan's doing the mind trick.
Well, there are rumors that they're going to be, their role is going to be built out more potentially in the Obi-Wan series. We may actually see them in the Obi-Wan series coming up. So there's a really good reason why they're showing them now, is so that we can get familiar with the characters and we'll remember them whenever, because later on this year is when we're going to be getting this the limited run, the 6-episode Obi-Wan series. So I think those 2 actors, or I don't know if it was those 2 actors or it was another set of actors, have already been cast for Cammy and Fixer for that. I believe. I could be getting that mixed up, but
yeah. And if you want to see that deleted scene that we're referring to, it's you can find it on YouTube. Star Wars 1977 Tashi Station deleted scene that has that reference back to that as well.
I mean, there was so much from the original script that we missed out on because George Lucas wanted to do the whole intro being the the Star Destroyer coming over, which, by the way, I mean, I'm not going to debate. That was the good move to do, because it would have been a slow burn start had they started with Luke racing Fixer and then threading the Stone Needle. We only ever get to hear Luke talk about threading the Stone Needle, but in the original script, he actually does it in the original script, and that's when he's the only person to ever thread the Stone Needle, apparently. So that's a huge little thing that you can see, or you can listen to if you ever can find the link to the original Star Wars radio dramas, and that they actually looked at the whole thing. But hey, speaking of books and comics, we had a character in this episode that jumped right out of the comics. That was, I mean, this guy has villain and antagonist written all over him. Mm-hmm. It's the first time we get to see a bad Wookiee, and his name is Black Kirsatin.
Yeah. His presence on the screen was something else.
You look at this guy, and if you know his history, one of the things I would recommend if you're big into Star Wars and you want to know about this, look up there's a YouTube channel called Star Wars Explained, and he does a really good recap of who Black Kirsatin is. Mm-hmm. And you will, and a lot of this is comics, so a lot of this stuff is canon. Once you know this, you can realize why he was looking at Boba Fett the way he was. Okay. They have history, and it's not good. He really doesn't like Boba Fett, and he probably wants to kill him.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression. Yeah. Kind of the glances. I kind of got that impression.
The Wookiee side eye.
But it's so exciting that we actually get to see a bad Wookiee. We've never really seen one, because Wookiees in their society, the only way that you can really get kicked out of Wookiee society is to become what's called a Mad Claw. And a Mad Claw is when you use your claws against a fellow Wookiee. Yeah. So basically you commit a crime using, violence against another Wookiee, and they'll kick you out of the society. And supposedly that's what happened with Black Kirsatin, is he left, and then at that point he became a gladiator, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. But yeah, if you want to know the history on him, I would recommend looking it up. It's Star Wars Explained. Just look up the Black Kirsatin, and it'll just give you just a few minutes rundown on him. It'll get you caught up for sure.
That's why I said that's been the craziest thing about all this. Like I said, with Mando and now Boba Fett, it is blown up with giving you the expanded universe that a lot of folks have wanted.
I was one of those fans that most of us in Star Wars that were upset when they decided just to say we're making everything expanded universe Legends, and we're retconning everything. We're going to just freely retcon anything that we want to now that it's Legends. But they've been doing a really good job when they've got some folks there at Lucasfilm that are just cherry picking things out of the comics and cherry picking things out of Legends. Like, we have Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's going to become the most likely the primary antagonist for Ahsoka's series, Ahsoka Tano's series coming up. So, and he exists apparently now before the original trilogy and now after the original trilogy. We get to find out how long Chiss live. So, yeah, I mean, they're cherry picking things out of expanded universe, and it's actually turned out to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What was your take, Kevin, on the Hutt cousins?
Yeah.
You talking about the brother and sister?
Oh yeah, brother and sister. Yeah. How what their look, I should say.
The weird thing is I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they were really grainy looking. I don't know. I've watched the episode like 5 times now, and I don't know if it's just the look of them, but it's almost like they're like standard definition, and the rest of everybody around them.
Well, I wonder if it has to do with because they're doing aren't they doing the same way of filming they did Mando with the big large LED screens for the backdrop?
Maybe. Yeah,
so that might be some kind of like lighting thing or something. I mean, I don't. Yeah. It doesn't bother me because I remember the special edition Jabba. So this is
that's where I was going with this.
Yeah. Well, maybe the reason they did that was because they were very overtly trying to not do that, to not make him look super clean, because where they were on the scene, they were further back, so it would have been with the dust kicked up in the haze, and they were doing the banging the drums with all that, and overall, I mean, obviously we're going to hear more about it. The Hutts don't give up. They literally have species that were born in subservience to them, so they always have somebody doing something for them. So, and they have a lot of power. So if they've come around and they've said, we have this is our, Mos Espa's ours, and Boba Fett says, no, it's not, it's mine. They even openly say, sleep lightly, because that's pretty much them, the horse head in the bed kind of thing.
I was about to say, like, the Book of Boba Fett has given me too big, I want to say it feels like a Western and The Godfather have made movies. Essentially, that's what they're doing with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're definitely going to see Blacker Sutton. We're definitely going to see more of him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's sent after Boba Fett in the next episode. But if there's, granted, I'm not a director, but if they're smart, they should probably nurse that Blacker Sutton thing a little longer and let it get toward the end and pull in. But then again, I don't know. I mean, there's another character. I don't know if we know the name yet, but the Tuscan Raider that helped train Boba Fett, the female Tuscan Raider, who is an incredible combatant, is turning out to be a side main character as well. So we may see more of that character come up. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's something with Boba Fett where he makes a loose alliance with Tuscans in general, even though they're nomadic, of help me out and we can protect each other kind of thing.
Well, I think just from the events of the first 2 episodes, Boba's become family by bond with the Tuscans now. I mean, it's that's one thing I kind of need. Like especially that last bit there where they're doing their
the interpretive dance, I prefer to
the ritual together.
Oh man!
So that interpretive dance that we're talking about, guys. Early on TikTok, I had found a video right after it aired, where someone had said, and I think anybody who saw the scene probably had this in the back of their head. Just about everybody I've talked to. Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. When they're doing their dance, it almost perfectly times up.
It is. It was perfect timing. That video was great.
So someone actually did a video of the interpretive the dance to Thriller, and it looked phenomenal. So I'm sitting on this for a week. I'm like, look, I'm not going to spoil this for anybody, but it hit Friday, and I was like, I've got to say something about this now. I've got to share this. And the amount of people were like, yep, that's what I was thinking whenever they did it. Of course, it's Tamara Morrison's. He's a New Zealander. And he's Kiwi, and his Maori roots come out, and a lot of that.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
What you see with the dance, that's Maori. That's what that is. That's as soon as I saw it, that's the first thing I thought of. But then I was like, yeah, it kind of times up with Thriller too, though. So I'm going to go with Thriller.
Also, going back, made me think stuff I've noticed. They've shown a lot of throwback scenes to Boba when he was a kid there a couple times on the. Is that like archival? Is that stuff from the prequels that were ever used?
Daniel Logan.
Something?
Yes, Daniel Logan. Yeah,
it is. It is the same actor. Oh wow! Yeah. So I'm sure so maybe that's. I know some of it was like flashback, but then some of it it was new. I don't know if that was me or not.
They did make some changes to some of it, in the original scene when he picks up the helmet, that you see the head come out of it in a shadow. Yeah. That didn't happen in the original dreams, in the dream scene for this. They didn't do the whole head coming out of it, but they did. It was the same scene. They just removed the shadow of the head coming out.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure that there's come on, George Lucas probably filmed a ton of things. So they probably have archival footage, that wasn't finished. All they could do is finish it out. And actually, come on, actually make the effects look good, because a lot of those prequel effects don't hold up very well right now. So, yeah, so we got Blacker Sutton, and I think Brock, you wanted me to hit on the gaffy stick making.
Yeah, the end of course, us being costumers and everything and making our own stuff, and then Kevin, who has a legit will kill you gaffy stick made out of steel, right? Which is an impressive prop.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to get your take on the gaffy stick and watching, being able to see Boba, the Tuscans saying, "Hey, thanks for all your help and everything else. You're one of ours now." And
the whole the journey to the tree and
I'm about to say the
very Jim Morrison experience.
Lizard,
I like to kind of say Boba had on this. That whole lizard up the nose thing made me cringe a little bit, but ooh.
I was like, are we watching Star Trek now? Are they like putting things in their heads, like carnivorous earwigs?
Fear and loathing in Mos Eisley.
Oh.
Well, and what was even more disturbing was he snorted the lizard, and then at the end, he like the guy just like makes a noise, and then the lizard comes back out and pops himself back into the little container. It was like, how many times has this lizard done this?
That is a well-traveled lizard.
Yeah.
That lizard's like, I've seen some snot. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's not very sanitary, but you know.
It's snot, isn't it?
It's not very. Oh. Wah, wah.
There's your dad. Bud.
So Tuscan Raider gaffy sticks are based on the base of them, the wood part that he went and got the tree, and then he came back. In the original trilogy, the base of those are from a tribe in Fiji. It's called a Fijian Totokai, and it's a war club. So they would the big ball piece on the end with the point, they would literally use it as a club, and then that piece on the end that's what they used to maim and kill people with. I mean, that was their thing. So when they were looking for props and to make this stuff back in the original trilogy, they went and got some original Fijian Totokais, which back then you could get them at the full size. Now, if you go to Fiji and you get them, they're small because they don't really make them for war anymore. They don't do that. But back in the 70s, that was something that they could get. So the original Tuscan Raiders, they used original Fijian Totokais for their weapons, and then they just crammed a big steel rod in there and put some fins on it and put a tip on it and said, "This is a gaffy stick." And that's what you see when Luke first gets attacked and the Tuscan Raiders doing the and he's right over the top of him. That actual gaffy stick is one of the ones they made out of a Fijian Totokai. So the fact that they actually did it out of, they honored that, because that was, from what I understand, and granted, I don't know everything about how Totokais are made, but I would imagine they're very similarly made to how they made the war clubs for the gaffy sticks in this episode. And the way that they actually pieced it together was pretty much exactly the way I've seen it done in documentaries that the Fijians did. So that was about as accurate as you can get. Now, the one that I have is mostly metal. I mean, that's like Brock said, it could kill you.
It's heavy.
I have to be when I'm in, you have to imagine when you're in a Tuscan Raider costume, you're essentially seeing out of two toilet paper rolls in your eyes that just happen to have some slits that don't do anything, that you just give you a little bit of light. So you have a very narrow field of vision, and I have a weapon that can really hurt somebody if I swing it too hard. So it's mostly whenever I'm doing, if I'm in costume and I'm posing or whatever, I have to have a spotter to make sure that I'm not picking it up and not going to hit somebody or something with it. So, when I saw the way that these were made, it's very similar. I mean, mine's mostly metal, but it does have the wood piece on the end of it with the wood dowel, the wood point on the end of it. So, yeah, I was just like almost just transfixed. Like, Jessica said earlier, she would have loved to have seen me watching this episode.
Yeah.
The first time around, I was just like absolutely transfixed watching this, because it's like now everyone's going to want to make their gaffy sticks this way, which there's nothing wrong with it. That's very similar, other than using a good old fashioned welder. That's very similar to how mine was made.
Okay.
Very, very similar.
And one thing that, in knowing you all these years and knowing your history with Tuscans, one thing I've been watching very carefully on the screen is how well they've been treating the Tuscans, and not showing any skin or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we really don't know what a Tuscan looks like.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what they are. I mean, are they, jerky under there? We don't know. We have no idea what their skin looks like. I mean, which that kind of lends itself, if you think about it. What if the reason that they were accepting in the end of Boba Fett was because he kind of looks like them?
Yeah, he was.
That had something to do with it, where he's just burnt and
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it was, they accepted him because of his, he proved himself. But at the same time, it's like, what if we never get to see what a Tuscan Raider looks like? The analog for a Tuscan Raider is basically Tamira Morrison with all of his jerky prosthetics now. where, he just freshly out of the Sarlacc and his face and his body's all messed up because of the digestive juices from the Sarlacc. And thankfully, I'm sure Tamura Morrison was very thankful that they decided to put in the Bacta-Tank so that he could heal from some of those scars and didn't have to wear those prosthetics every time he filmed.
Every time he filmed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh, hours and hours in that makeup chair.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's phenomenal because now that they've decided to do Boba Fett, Tamura Morrison is pretty much the age Boba Fett would be. So it's like this all just worked out perfectly. That they, George Lucas decided to retcon the whole Boba Fett not being his own thing and made him into a carbon copy of Jango Fett. That it just works out really well. That now anybody that and the fact that Boba Fett is so brazen that he would walk around Mos Espa without his helmet on. And the fact that anybody that knew what a stormtrooper looked like or a clone trooper looked like can look at him and go, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because he's going to look just like any of them, just older. So it makes me wonder at some point if we're going to get something like that where someone's like, you look like Commander Cody without his helmet on.
Episode 1 made me really feel like I think episode 1 proved that all the Chuck Norris facts should be changed to Boba Fett facts because episode 1 proved he is one tough son of a gun.
Totally agree with you on that.
But at the same time, as soon as he went into hand-to-hand combat with a Tuscan Raider, got his butt kicked.
Well, yeah, I get you. But I mean, I guess I'm basing more off his toughness on surviving that and then all the stuff after that they show in the episode.
But I mean, that's not exactly a bad thing if you think about it, because I mean, he just literally just learned a new art of fighting from the Tuscans. And now when we actually finally get to see him come into his own in that Robert Rodriguez directed episode in Mandalorian, where he is just decimating stormtroopers, we realize that was the combat that he learned from the Tuscans that he's using with his gaffy stick.
That makes me, I need to go back and watch that episode of Mando now just to kind of watch it with that new perspective.
Yeah.
And this is probably a little off the subject, but in talking about the first episode with the showing the crawl out from the Sarlacc pit, just reminded me of that famous scene from Parks and Rec of Patton Oswalt's filibuster.
His filibuster.
Did you guys see his tweet on that where he was like, he said, "I am honored and humbled." The fact that it matches up almost exactly with him talking.
It did. So you can't help but wonder if it was a little Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni kind of had a little something to do with that. But that's one of the best Parks and Rec scenes, hands down, is his filibuster with that. So anyway.
No, that's dead on. That was that was huge. When I saw when I watched the episode and I saw that happen, I was like, "Oh, yeah, this seems familiar."
I seem to think somebody has talked about this before.
I've seen a couple folks complain that the show's been slow, but I like this slow burn with it.
No,
it needs a slow burn.
Yeah, because the thing is what I mean. We don't know what's going to happen in the next season of Mandalorian. We don't know. I mean, Boba Fett could be back with them again. I don't know. For all we know, Boba Fett could get killed in this. I don't know. I hope not. But I mean, if that's the way it goes, then that's the way it goes. But I mean, the slow burn, I think it's the same as Mandalorian. Mandalorian, when it first started off, it was kind of a slow burn. It was like, the first time we see him, it opens the door and the Mandalorian walks in and it's like a Western. And this is set up very similarly. So they're doing the same thing, and you can definitely tell that they're setting up a lot of main characters because they intend to do this again.
Yeah,
I hope I'm right on that.
They always tend to do a little bit slower, like in the first season of something where you've got to create the character, you've got to build that character, and as you mentioned earlier, with him getting such limited screen time in the past. I mean, this is the first time we're learning all this stuff about Boba Fett. Yeah. So we need to see what's shaping him into what will not be slow later on, in subsequent seasons. He's going to be kicking tail. You just know it. So we've got to know why and see how he develops his techniques.
It's good to take the journey like this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling in an upcoming episode that we're going to get a team up of bounty hunters that he hires, like Bosk, maybe IG-88. And we may finally get to see why. I mean, granted, obviously we know why Boba Fett was feared, but you'll get to just the same as like we had that prison break episode with Mandalorian, where before that we knew that Mandalorian was pretty much a big BA, but we got to see it, and even the other guys that were doing the prison break got to see him just take down all those droids with no problem whatsoever. We may finally get to see that with Boba Fett in full armor and get to see him just rip through some stuff along with. So basically like the video, what was it that video game that we were promised? What was it, Star Wars 1313?
Something like that. Yeah.
So it's like the underworld kind of thing. Basically what that was shaping up to be before it got canceled. Something like that, where it's the bounty hunters. They come together and do a job or something like that. So like, what if it gets to the point where Black Krrsantan, that they need to take him down, but he is super tough. We need to get a whole bunch of bounty hunters together to take him down. I'm kind of hoping we get to that point where we get to see just why was Boba Fett so feared. What I mean, of course he does disintegrations, but guess what? So does Din. Din's got a disintegrator too. So, it's rare to happen, but that can't be the only reason why people feared him. I mean, for some people, if you said, I put a bounty on you and Boba Fett picked it up, you would just surrender. You wouldn't even, because, there was a chance that if Boba Fett got you, it was a dead or alive. Mm-hmm. And it was almost always going to be dead because that's just the way Boba Fett was. So why did everyone fear him so much over everybody else? Why was he top notch when it came to bounty? That's what we need to see.
Speaking of what things that could come about, what we could possibly see going forward with this series, do you feel that there is a good possibility there could be a Han Solo moment in this series?
You know what? I kind of feel like we're building to that. Part of me hopes not. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds bad because I know a lot of the original source material from Boba Fett came from the Han Solo books. I think it was A.C. Crispin did them. And Boba Fett did not like Han Solo. Han Solo embarrassed him several times, him and Lando. Yeah. And I hope, part of me thinks it would be funny to bring that up, but I kind of don't want to see it. Yeah. I kind of don't. I kind of hope they leave it alone and just let Han Solo be his own thing, because this is, the Mandalorian's been good without having a whole lot of big.
Yeah, we had the big Luke moment though in the Mandalorian. Yeah, so there's always that possibility, and I've heard some people hope that it's some way, shape, or form that even Kira could be thrown out there into this series as well.
Well, we know Darth Maul's gone at this point, so he's thankfully. He like died and then came back, and then died and then came back. But he's gone now because Obi-Wan killed him. But again, for the second time on Tatooine. But we could potentially see that, because who took over the organization after he died? It would have been her, I would think. She was kind of being groomed for that. So there's a possibility, and we could potentially see the young, now older Han Solo as having a run in with Boba Fett. That's a possibility. I don't know. I just kind of feel like.
It's a lot out there. there's so much that with the history that can be done with that. So just kind of see what they throw out there on us.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Ming-Na Wen's character, Fennec. Like I am. That's one of the things for this series I've been looking forward to, because she's awesome. Just like her. Yeah, she's a great actress, but her character just comes off like there's on top of Boba having a really cool kick butt moment. I'm really looking forward to her. Like,
And is she gonna stay? Obviously she says she's got a life debt to Boba because he saved her, but is she gonna? She's an assassin. Is she gonna stay subservient to him forever?
That's true.
We don't know. Yeah. It could be that she may betray him at some point. I don't know. It could be like, at the beginning where he's like, I've been having the dreams again. And she just kind of looks at him and is like, all right, get up, boss. We got to go.
Yeah.
It could be that in her mind, she was like, man, this guy's a whiner. I don't want to be subservient. What is he whining about PTSD for?
I ain't got time for him to talk about his. I ain't got time for your feelings. Let's go.
They could be the old assassin couple. That's it.
Oh. Well, how many episodes are we getting? 10 episodes?
I think so. I don't think I've looked into it, but I think it is 10 episodes.
As of IMDb's listing up to, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I'm sorry. I was looking at her character. That's why I was making sure I pronounced her character name correctly. It says right now just 7 episodes according to IMDb.
Okay.
All right.
So I know that they said that Robert Rodriguez, he directed the first episode, which was more action heavy. The second episode was a little more of a builder. But from what I understand, Robert Rodriguez directs quite a few more of these. So I would expect that action is going to amp up. The thing is Robert Rodriguez, he's great, but at the same time, you kind of know what you're going to get with him. So I mean, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get action and not always a lot of story movement, because a lot in Mandalorian, they basically gave him like the script was basically like 7 minutes of dialogue, and he just padded the rest of that out with action, because that's what Robert Rodriguez does. He just does action. That's his big deal.
And then there's a sweet video of him playing guitar with baby Grogu sitting beside him, bobbing his little head.
I'm not dissing Robert Rodriguez. It's just when you've seen his films and you've seen what he's done, you know what you're getting with him. And I'm just kind of hoping that it doesn't sacrifice story movement just to get him in and get more action.
Right.
So, obviously I think we're all hoping for the best with it, but if this last episode is any indication, we're not going to be disappointed.
No,
I don't think.
There's also a little piece on Disney Plus as well, Under the Helmet, the legacy of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that was really good.
Little 21-minute episode that's really good. Goes into about the history of the the character and the coming about, the creation of the character. So it's very good. Short little segment there to watch. Really enjoyed that.
Like, a lot of people don't realize that Boba Fett started off as a super stormtrooper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was solid white.
Yeah.
And then at that point, and George Lucas was like, yeah, I need this as another character. And they just, all right, well, let me go throw some green and some red and stuff on him, and we'll make him look bad guy.
Well, one thing that I found amusing in that segment was there's a clip that was taken. There was a parade that they actually had not too long after Star Wars had released, and it's the actual, like, Darth Vader's one of the screen used costumes walking in this parade, and there's Boba Fett with him, and they were the only two walking, and people just immediately showed how they didn't know nothing about Boba Fett, but they were just drawn to him because he just looks super awesome there. So,
and then the rest of us know that the reason that Boba Fett was immediately such an imposing character was that Darth Vader literally had to single him out and go, no disintegration. And you're like, oh man, this guy must be freaking legit. And yeah, sure, he's the guy. He's also another guy in a helmet. You don't know who he is. He's very mysterious. This is kind of a space western. And then there we go. I am super looking forward. And granted, this episode will drop on the day that the next episode comes out.
Yeah.
Super looking forward to that. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
So the next time you hear us, we'll review the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So spoiler warning.
No, I don't plan to get behind on this one. This one's got me hooked.
Very proud of you, man.
Yeah. Haven't seen Spider-Man yet.
What? No.
Oh, come on now.
You have got to go see Spider-Man. And we are still not going to talk about it because we are not going to spoil it, even though you said you've seen spoilers. I'm still not going to talk about it.
This is exactly why I didn't include it in the rundown for this episode, because I'm like, Bo hadn't seen it.
I don't want to hold up discussion about it.
Everybody but
we are
you
going
has
to hold
seen
up discussion about it.
Yeah, everybody already knows what this is about except you.
Well, I mean, if I hold out, I don't know. Sony may keep this one in the theater longer because they were pretty quick from between November 17th till the 1st of January for digital for Ghostbusters. So, you never know.
Pretty much one of their most profitable movies ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hands down.
Well, anything else you guys want to cover before we head off into the sunset?
What? Well, maybe think this falls under the Bama, I guess, the kind of Alabama part. And I know Kevin was talking about the Quinlan Castle being taken down in Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I understand it was structurally unsound and everything, and they were going to they were going to try to build a new business in it, but it was so worn down. But yeah, that thing was a landmark.
Yeah.
Quinlan Castle's been quite a few things in this history. I think the last thing it was apartments. They had done apartments in it, and it's had a history of having vagrants in it, and from a distance, it's a landmark because you look at it from a distance and you're like, all cool. There's a castle. And anybody that mentions it's like, you're talking about Birmingham, England, right? No. We're talking about Birmingham, Alabama. We got a castle.
There's a castle right in the middle of
Quinlan Castle.
Yep.
So they're tearing it down to do the new headquarters for Southern Research.
Yeah,
it's going to be built there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a huge landmark. And I wouldn't say a huge landmark, but it's definitely something that anybody that's in Birmingham knows about Quinlan Castle.
Exactly. Yeah, you know about it. You kind of look for it when you're in the area. You see it. So yeah,
I'll never forget. I was probably like 18 or 19 with driving through Birmingham one of the first few times by myself, and like I was, that was back then. You didn't have a GPS. I just got out and ride around just to see it. And then randomly, holy crap, there's a castle in Birmingham. I never expected to see a castle in Birmingham.
I think that, and granted, Jessica, I don't know if you remember this, but I think the first time when we were at a parade, Brock, and the first time I met you
was
we were just blocks away from Quinlan Castle.
We were like right in the shadow. We were in the shadow of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you got out of the car and you were like, and Brock was like, hey, this is Jessica. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were right there next to Quinlan Castle. So, yeah.
St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, if you, those of you not familiar with Birmingham area, you can just search Quinlan Castle, Quinlan Castle. And if you want to learn a little more about the history of that building and see the pictures of it, so you can kind of refer back to what we were talking about. But yeah, kind of a sad day in the downtown Birmingham area to see that finally being taken down.
Because it's been there for how long? What?
Oh
60
gosh,
plus
it
years?
was built. It was constructed in 1927.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh wow, almost 100
very old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's just a very small plug here. There's a Facebook group that not a group but a page that I follow that's doing a good job of kind of keeping status of what they're doing, like the demolition. It's called Birmingham Now, Beham Now.
Yeah.
They do a really good job of like posting pictures of it. Like they've already got it's got the 4 turrets on the sides, and they've already taken the roof off of all the turrets. And I think they're in the process of taking the turrets down because those are they have that area blocked off right now because the turrets they're in such a bad shape that they had to take them down. And then the rest of it, they should be able to take it down like a normal building.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're doing right now is taking the turrets down so that they can get the normal building taken down.
Lots of changes in Birmingham over the last few years.
It is crazy. They've really, like I said, it's, last 10 years especially, it's ridiculous how much of it. It's a good thing, though.
Well, the biggest thing I was surprised when they said that it was going to be the new home for Southern Research was that it wasn't going to be something UAB.
That's
you would
true.
expect it would be UAB because UAB is anyone who knows anything about Birmingham, Alabama.
Southside Birmingham is pretty much just UAB.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's Birmingham is the city that University of Alabama ate, basically. They own at least half the city, if not more.
Well, a lot of the city during that time period. I mean, there was nothing there, some older buildings. So yeah, I mean, they just happened to struck while the iron was hot to acquire so much property.
I was just really surprised when I learned that it was Southern Research and it wasn't something UAB. Like it's going to be UAB's new outpatient center or something.
Mighty fine hospital, though.
Yeah, very good.
Oh yeah, no.
Hey, you know what? UAB, I can say the UAB put me back together. But when I had a car accident back in my 20s, I went there and then they got me back together. So I will never speak a ill word of UAB. It's just it's the running joke of if you're in Birmingham, it's like, what does UAB not own?
Yeah, really. Well, Brock's got a good history with UAB.
Fantastic, yeah. My son was born with a heart defect, and they put him back together as well, and he's full speed ahead. He's got no issues right now. He's doing real well. I'll always be thankful for the cardiologists at UAB, Pediatric Cardiology. They're at Children's Hospital.
Yep.
My lovely wife, she is a nurse for the UAB system. So
got a lot of UAB ties in this in this podcast. Only tie I had was that when I was little, maybe probably about 3 or 4 years old, the UAB had the dental school, the dental program, and that's where my parents would go for dental stuff. And actually, I was a wanderer when I was a kid. And my mom was in there getting her dental work done. And my dad looked around and I was gone. And I decided that I was going to ride the elevators. So, yeah. Okay. I was a wanderer when I was a kid. That's really, me as a mother now, that really is like, what? Yeah. I was like, I gave my parents numerous heart attacks. I would just wander off. But, yeah.
Yep. Good thing they were at a hospital.
Yep. UAB cardiology again. All right. Well, anything else, guys?
Before we leave, I want to go back to the whole Christopher Walken thing as Han Solo. It's the ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. Okay. Sorry.
There we go.
That was good.
I wanted my moment. I didn't get my moment earlier. So.
Well, you got it. I'm proud of you, baby.
Yeah.
Who are you calling Scruffy?
It's not wise to upset a Wookiee. Okay, so let's just get all the Christopher Walken out of our system, and I'm good.
Yeah, you're running a fever. You're delirious. It's okay.
That's right.
I say there are two people everybody has an impression of, and whether they're good or not, they still do them. It's Schwarzenegger and Walken, I believe. That's my opinion on things.
And I did mention earlier that about I do have a fever, but the prescription is not cowbell.
Hey, Pete Christopher Walken is Fatboy Slim.
Oh, yeah. What a great video.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Man.
Him just dancing through the whole video. That was just like the greatest thing Christopher Walken's ever done.
I agree.
I could go off on more with this, but I think we'll just let it go for now.
It's time to take your medicine and go to bed.
We'll have to do a Christopher Walken episode.
Oh.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You guys have been warned. Listening to the podcast, it's going to be an impression-heavy episode.
Oh.
But that ties right into Batman Returns for you, Bo. So there you go.
Oh, yes, there we go.
Oh my! We will set that episode to be determined.
Look, we'll be around. Hopefully, podcast will be around for a while, and we got a lot of episodes to work on in the future. So who knows, right?
That's exactly correct. I mean, that's why we have now started to plug once again Bama Geeks Front Porch on Facebook. Look it up. Ask to join. One of us four will approve you. And mind the rules. Keep it nice.
Keep it nice.
Keep it nice.
It's just all about sitting on the front porch chatting with friends.
Exactly.
It's the way you look at it.
And if you decide to open posts with a meme, only do it when Kevin's online, because then I'll be okay with it.
I'll see it eventually.
Only say that, guys, by the way, because I've actually done that and didn't realize I did that. So, yeah.
Oh, Kevin Brooks was one of our first members. We did it, like I said, we did a soft launch of the group with some friends, and Kevin Brooks jumped in there immediately with the first post with a peanut butter solution meme. I was like, I'm going to let that one stand because it's relatable content to the podcast. So, plus it's Kevin Brooks.
That's right.
So, like I said, join us on Facebook. Let's build our community. Bama Geeks Front Porch. Search for it. Facebook.com/groups/Bama Geeks Front Porch. Find it on the main Bama Geeks page, just like you can the rest of our social media at Bama Geeks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and let's keep the conversation going. We know we're only here every couple of weeks, but we're always on Facebook, so we can definitely chat in between the episodes, and we'd love to do that with you. Yeah. So thanks again for listening, and we promise next time more Boba Fett,
maybe some Christopher Walken. Who knows?
Maybe.
You just have to keep listening to find out.
But definitely more Boba Fett.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, no doubt about that.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Bye.